This is GrantTalk, hosted by Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants.
Hi, everybody. I'm Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch.com, and your host today on our GrantTalk podcast. I'm also the author of The Queen of Grants, From Teacher to Grant Writer to CEO. Sitting with me today is Rachel Roth, and she is the Senior Director of Grants and Programs at the Foundation for Financial Planning, something near and dear to my heart as a mother and grandmother and great-grandmother. I want to make sure that everyone knows how to financially plan and not get into trouble. So, Rachel, how did you get into this?
How did I get into the Foundation for Financial Planning? So I've always been interested in the intersection of nonprofit work and helping people in need with business skills. So the Foundation for Financial Planning is a great intersection of using professional skills. So financial planners use their professional skills, their financial planning to provide financial advice and guidance to people at nonprofit organizations or people who are served by nonprofit organizations who really don't have access to high quality financial advice and guidance.
What does that involve? I mean, if somebody came to you and said, I owe so much money in credit cards, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful to take a step back and talk about the Foundation for Financial Planning and how we were formed, our history, and our mission. And then I can talk more about what an engagement could look like.
Okay, great.
We actually work with consumers directly. We're a grant maker, so we fund nonprofit organizations who have pro bono financial planning programs. I think I should start by talking about the foundation. So we were founded 30 years ago by a group of financial planners who wanted to give back to their communities. We're solely devoted to creating better access to quality financial advice and guidance. So we offer support through our grant making, why I'm here today, technical assistance, training, and other resources to help nonprofits establish and grow pro bono financial planning programs at nonprofits across the country. And then we connect financial planners, specifically certified financial planners, CFP professionals, to the nonprofit programs that we support through our platform, probonoplannermatch.org. And that's where nonprofits can post opportunities for financial planners to get involved and provide free financial guidance to their constituents, whether those be low to moderate income people, staff, etc. We really work with nonprofits that serve a variety of populations, from cancer patients and their families, victims of natural disaster, people looking to buy homes, first-time home buyers, women, widowers, exonerees. So yesterday, I spoke with a man who had been in prison for 34 years for a crime that he did not commit. And so when he got out of prison, he started working with a nonprofit grantee of ours called After Innocence that helps exonerees, so people who are released in prison for crimes that they didn't commit, get back on their feet. And one of those supports is through financial counseling. So working with a pro bono financial planner, so working with a financial planner for free to help them understand like different concepts in personal finance, budgeting, saving, investing. There's so many ways that financial planners can help debt prioritization and management.
So most of the time you find that people, they want to financially plan, but there's no revenue. How do you handle that? Do you have job references or referrals?
Yeah, so the clients so again, we don't work directly with consumers. The nonprofit organizations that we fund work with clients. So when a a client doesn't have any income, pro bono financial planning may not be for them. It might be best for them to start with other services that the nonprofit provides. Many of the nonprofits that we work with have workforce development programs. They provide income support, information about benefits, public benefits. So it's usually good to have, some sort of income, whether it be small, that the financial planner can work with to help an individual budget and, reconcile their debt and develop savings.
So when you give a grant to an organization, about how much is the average that an organization gets?
Yeah, so we're a smaller foundation. We give around $10,000 to $40,000.
So you're a piece of their puzzle.
We're a piece of their puzzles, and our funding is very specific. So we don't fund general financial literacy or financial education. We fund programs that engage CFP professionals, so financial planners, in helping clients. So through one-on-one personalized financial advice and guidance.
So you pay the CFP professional basically with the money?
No, we don't. They don't get paid. It's pro bono. So just like in the legal profession, where pro bono attorneys do work for free to help people who can't afford legal help, we're creating this tradition in the financial planning space. So we recruit financial planners who want to work for free to help people who can't afford to get high quality financial advice and guidance.
Okay. So now the CFP is pro bono. What can the organization use the funds for?
Yeah, so organizations use the funds to develop the program. So anything that would be related to program development, usually it's staff time. Organizations have to have a staff member to develop and oversee the program. They have to recruit the clients. They have to create the, marketing or communications. They have to recruit the volunteer financial planners. They have to match them together. They have to provide support and training, onboarding, troubleshooting to make sure that the program runs smoothly and is making an impact on the client. And the volunteer is also having a good experience and set up to help the client.
I like this topic so much, and I know you don't pay for financial literacy education, but recently I started a children's book called Twig Literacy, where it's beavers and twigs to teach financial literacy to very, very young children. And of course, parents are reading the story, so the parents will get it as well. So it gives them a springboard for having that conversation about.
That's awesome. That's so important.
Yeah, and it's about.
Most of the programs that we fund we serve adults because it's financial planning. But it's so important to start teaching children at a young age, and it's something that doesn't get taught in schools enough.
Right, and I'm trying to teach not borrowing, basically, and valuing your resources that you have, and don't borrow. And if you do borrow, return it, and return it quickly because it's not yours. So it's a cute little book about beavers. I'm hoping that it'll take off and get into the younger age children. So you fund all across the United States. Is that correct?
Yeah, we fund nonprofit organizations across the United States.
And about how many organizations will get funded in a year?
About 20.
Well, that's a lot to manage. Especially because you're matching them. So how many CFPs do you have in your database that are willing to donate their time?
Yeah, so on our platform, probonoplannermatch.org, we have around 3,000 CFPs on our platform who want to help.
That's really a lot. Great.
There's a lot, but there's around 100,000 CFPs in the United States. And so, we're able to promote different volunteer opportunities to the wider universe of CFP professionals through our partnership with CFP Board, the certification body for CFP professionals. So if we get a opportunity from a nonprofit organization that's really, localized, like let's say they want to serve clients in Oklahoma, and we just don't have a lot of CFP professionals on our platform from Oklahoma, we can send a targeted email to a specific geography, or maybe they want volunteers that speak Chinese. We can send a targeted email out to the broader universe of CFP professionals who speak Chinese, just to make sure that the volunteer opportunities get filled.
So the engagement is done in person or online?
Yeah, they can be done either way. It depends what works best for the nonprofit organization or for the clients at the nonprofit organization. After COVID, many more engagements started being virtual. And it really makes it easy in terms of transportation and childcare, traffic. It's a much more flexible option. But some clients don't have the technology, or they prefer to meet in person.
They bring their shoebox of receipts with them, right?
Yeah, and it's up to the nonprofit that's developing the program to develop something that really works for the community.
And when we have such a large database of resources, I mean, you'd think that we'd have many, many more people trying to take advantage of this and work through it and learn financial planning. So of these 20, I mean, we have 52 states. So do you find yourself in one area of the country more than another?
We try to spread out our grant funding across the United States. We don't want to, just serve organizations in the Northeast. So we try to spread it out across the United States.
What do you find?
I was just going to add that, since, we are only able to fund around 20 organizations, we really want to expand this resource, this human capital resource of pro bono financial planners to more organizations and more people in need. And that's why we created probonoplannermatch.org. So you don't need to receive a grant from us in order to use it. Nonprofit organizations just can create a volunteer opportunity and start recruiting these really, expert volunteers that really have compassion and empathy and really want to help people outside of their paid practices.
So when a nonprofit is writing a federal grant that's going to serve an underserved population, they can make one of their goals and objectives to help with financial planning and use your website.
Definitely, yeah.
So they don't necessarily need getting your grant would be great, but they can bypass that in a way and offer it with federal money as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I like that. And what about students, colleges, universities? They have, right? Kids take out student loans and they have no clue how to pay it back. This would be great.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, we'd love to serve more students. We know that student loans are such a huge challenge in the United States. We'd love to be able to help with that.
And the retention of students, a lot of times kids drop out after the first year because they can't afford to go anymore. So this would be very helpful to show them how to manage that as well. So do you have another grant coming out, or this is the one grant a year?
Yeah, so actually our grant application has just opened. So it'll be available online. We use the platform Common Grant. And I think you can provide a link to it, or you can look on our website.
Well, we have it on GrantWatch as well. So
okay, good. On GrantWatch. So you can find information about the application. It closes at the end of April. And then our grants committee reviews the applications over the summer and announces our grantees in the fall. So this will be funding for 2026.
So people have to understand this is not funding for them to get their bills paid or whatever. It's funding for the financial planners
Exactly.
to work through a nonprofit organization and provide financial planning, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So what happens after they meet a financial planner and they come to the first meeting? How often would they have an engagement?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really can look different depending on the nonprofit organization and the needs of the community members. Sometimes it's just a one-time engagement where the client might have specific questions and they get their questions answered. Sometimes it's a 3-time engagement where the first meeting might be getting to know each other, sharing some information, asking questions. The second meeting might be kind of like a presentation or more of like a discussion from the financial planner. So making recommendations, providing advice based on whatever the need of the client is. And the third meeting could be like a follow-up, maybe providing some additional recommendations based on some like new information that the client has provided. So it could look like that. It can also be longer. It can be maybe meeting once a month over the course of 6 months. So it really depends on like the needs of the client and the nonprofit program.
And let's say someone went to a CFP without this program, not pro bono. What's the range of cost for this?
The range of cost? That's a good question. I think different CFP professionals have different rates and there's different models. Sometimes the CFP professional gets paid based on the amount of assets that the individual client or family has. So I don't know. I'm not in a position to like talk about rates. I don't know exactly.
You don't do the certification. CFP has its
Yeah,
the certification.
we're not part of the CFP board. We're independent nonprofit charity.
And to become a CFP, do you know what the requirements are?
Yeah, you should look up for the exact requirements on the CFP board's website, but there's a high level of education experience, so there needs to be a number of experience hours. They have to pass a test. And, there's like a high requirement in terms of ethics. So CFP professionals are fiduciaries, meaning that everything that they do, all of their advice and guidance has to be in the best interests of the client. And that's one of the reasons why we only work with CFP professionals. It's how we vet our volunteers for the high level of experience, education, and ethics.
And that's very good. That's different than when you call up, you go into the bank and they say, can we hook you up with our financial professionals? That's really to sell you that product.
True.
And here,
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to know if the recommendation that the financial professional is given is something that really is the best for you.
what do you advise the nonprofits that are going to fill out your application?
So I recommend that if they're a new organization that we haven't worked with before, to reach out. We'd love to talk to them about their organization and their program and get to know them. We're really willing to work with them to develop a program that engages pro bono financial planners. And maybe start recruiting. Use our platform, probonoplannermatch.org, to recruit a few, even if it's not a full-fledged program. Since we received so many applications, it's really great for the grants committee to see that an organization has started something, because they want to make sure that the program that the organization talks about, and the application is going to be implemented and it's going to be impactful. And sometimes it's good to, show, that there is a need and that there's interest before they apply.
How many hours do you think it takes someone to complete your application?
That's a good question. I'd say if you just work straight through, maybe 2.
Oh, that's not very heavy. That's great. It's not like a federal grant application. We're talking 60 hours sometimes.
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe 2 to 4. It really depends if first they have to make sure that their program is solid, and then it should be easy to kind of speak about it. If they have, I think it might take longer to develop and conceptualize the program. But once they have that set, I don't think writing or answering the questions should take that long.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to get in touch with you and see if their idea for their program is viable, how would they reach you?
Yeah, they can reach me over email. My email address is rroth at ffpprobono.org.
FFP, Foundation for Financial Planning, right?
Yep.
Okay, I have one more question. Where do you get your funding from?
Yeah, we get our funding from mostly the financial planning sector. So firms and individuals who want to support pro bono in the financial planning profession.
And I don't know if I read somewhere because I'm interviewing so many people, I thought I saw the total amount you fund in a year approximately is what?
In terms of the grants that we give each year, probably around in 2025, it's around 700,000.
Okay. And so if anybody's applying this year, they're looking for funding for 2026. So let's be clear on that. Right. And if they submit their application prior to the deadline, does it get looked at quicker, or would it get funded faster?
No, we look at all the applications at the same time. Good question.
And which applications end up in the recycle bin?
Well, if they're poorly written, if they don't follow our grant priorities. So, we're very specific. As I mentioned, we fund programs that link CFP professional volunteers with nonprofit organizations to help people in need who don't have access to financial planning. So if their programs don't involve that, then they won't get funded. And again, we want to show that that the program will have an impact and that they've thought about implementation. So, how are they going to recruit financial planners? How are they going to recruit clients? Are clients interested in this? We just want to make sure that our grant funding gets used and it really makes an impact on people and communities.
Okay. Well, I love what you're doing. And this can help so many people. And I like it because it's a piece of the puzzle. It's not like a nonprofit wakes up and says, well, we just want to do financial planning. We're going to apply for this. They should be doing other things right? There should be, as you said, the workforce development. It could be parenting education. It could be child care so that parents have affordable child care and at the same time financial planning. It's
a piece of the puzzle, and it really fits in well with many other social services that nonprofit organizations provide.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I hope that our subscribers take a good look at your grant application and start planning. And I want to talk to our viewers and subscribers. Click that button on the right side and subscribe to GrantTalk so that you can hear more about other grants that are available to your organization. And thank you for spending the morning with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope our viewers contact you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Really appreciate you profiling our organization.
No, they can find it on GrantWatch.com, and below we're gonna put your link in YouTube as well. Okay,
Thank you for tuning in to Grant Talk, powered by GrantWatch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this GrantWatch channel. Please consider subscribing to GrantWatch.com, and you can find the book, The Queen of Grants, by going to GrantWatch.com/book. Thank you again for spending your time with us.